All right, so follow up on the video I just did about reducing coffee slash caffeine intake. A couple things I forgot to say on there is one, I don't drink coffee when I'm sick, and I never felt cravings to drink alcohol when I was drinking in my days when I was sick as well. And I always associated that with just feeling less pressure, which is a big reason why I drank. Pressure to perform overall. That's one of the beauties of being sick, or the beauty being sick is no pressure, guilt-free. You can rest all day, ideally if possible, without feeling any kind of pressure. So, the times I have given up caffeine and coffee was when I've had a cold, and then I've continued on for a few days after that to the point I said, okay, I think I've learned my lesson. I'm just going to drink coffee for enjoyment and not use it as a crutch and not chug it before I have to do hard things, or not even so hard things. But it would never work. Just like when I would try it with alcohol. I mean, amazingly. So this partially got brought back up because I went to the dentist 2 days ago, and I would normally even sit in the parking lot chugging some coffee before I'd go into the dentist. Why? I definitely did it for a haircut. Why? I don't know. I think I felt pressured to even chat it up with my barber back then. But I have no idea even getting my, when I go to the dentist, I wasn't nervous for the dentist. It was just to do anything that I consider remotely challenging, I suppose. So, I still drank a little coffee on the way to the dentist the other day, but right before I went in, I went to take a sip and said, no, you don't need it. As I talked about in my last video, that can really help build up willpower. And especially as I'm coaching now people to give up alcohol, I said, I need to do the same with coffee because I do feel it's working against me. So with no further ado, I'd asked AI, is it better to switch from coffee to tea, or should you avoid both? I thought for sure it would say herbal tea only. But basically what it told me is, for people, and especially in early to mid recovery, switching from coffee to tea is absolutely better. Not because tea's perfect, but because it dramatically reduces the psychological volatility that fuels cravings, anxiety, and emotional swings. And tea's a better choice. For one, it's even, caffeinated tea is way less caffeine, 50% to 75% less, which means less stimulation, which stabilizes your cortisol, your anxiety, your heart rate, and your sleep quality, as I all talked about in the last video. And all those things reduce relapse vulnerability. The next point, which is a huge one I haven't heard much about, is tea contains L-theanine. And they say that is the magic differentiator. That L-theanine is an amino acid that smooths out caffeine's jittery effects. It increases alpha brain waves, which is calming. It reduces stress, and it balances dopamine and serotonin signaling. So coffee doesn't have that built-in calming agent. And that's why tea gives you a focused but grounding energy versus, the rocket, then crash effect of caffeine. I myself have tried, my friend recommended mate. It's spelled mate, M-A-T-E. It's not matcha. It's just basically loose tea that tastes just like, I was more excited it was going to taste differently, but it tastes just like your basic black tea. But I've noted it has a much more smooth buzz, if you will. And I try to drink that, but I just find tea overall boring. That's really my struggle. I find tea just boring to drink compared to coffee, which I like. I don't even love that much, but it's more difficult to drink, if you will, which is why it makes me think I'm cheating the system. It's almost like having a beer at the bar. I think I need to have coffee anytime I'm on my computer or out in the world doing hard things. But when I've gone without them, just like going without alcohol, I find I function just fine and stronger, sober, strong every day. So next couple more reasons. I've talked about again on the last video, but obviously the more caffeine you drink, the higher your cortisol levels, the higher your anxiety, and the more emotionally dysregulated you are. So they say if your goal is long-term emotional sobriety, Tea aligns with it. Coffee pushes your nervous system up. Alcohol was our way of pushing it back down. And so it's crazy when we get away from alcohol and our nervous system starts to reset and we can work towards a calm nervous system, the true measure of success. And then we go around pounding coffee that pushes it back up. It really is so self-defeating. So they say when you cut out alcohol, but still stay heavily caffeinated, you keep swinging violently between the two extremes. And they say tea supports baseline stability, which is the actual foundation of recovery. So obviously less caffeine. You can still drink some. I actually had converted to half calf, just Starbucks K-Cups half calf, drinking that at home. But then I started this habit of going to the Mobile, drinking this great coffee there. But that's full calf. I would fill it up as much as I could with ice to water it down, but then kind of water down the flavor. So, I'm all over the place. Giving it up is just better. So what AI said, what's the final recommendation? Well, good would just be having 1 cup of coffee and then switching the tea from the rest. They said a lot of people do well with that hybrid. Better is drinking green or black tea, which still gives you, that mini dopamine hit and does have some caffeine in it. And then best would be eventually converting to all herbal tea, which has no caffeine at all. So, there's a lot of great flavored herbal teas. I just did have some coffee this morning, but I also drank a cinnamon vanilla herbal tea. So there you have it. My buddy who drank coffee forever, gave it up, got it out of his mind, and said he hasn't even missed it at all. Which reminds me of that quote from Robert Downey. Quitting isn't the hard part. It's making the decision to quit. That's the hard part. So, and I've done it before. Once I've made that decision to quit coffee, I've been okay with it. Then last time was when I went out to breakfast. That's the part I dread most. And I know I can drink decaf. And I said I went out to breakfast with my mother a month ago, drank decaf. It was pretty boring and tasteless. I don't need anything, besides water, frankly. Sparkling water at home. A lot of alternatives, but I'll spare the details or maybe for another day because I do need to come up with some exciting alternative. So, all right, I'll end it there. As always, stronger, sober. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks.